Back to Nkandla now, where scores of Jacob Zuma supporters have gathered outside his homestead to show their support. The former president, Jacob Zuma, has about 3 days to hand himself over to the police station. This is following the Constitutional Court's judgment finding him guilty of contempt of court and then sentencing him to 15 months in jail. He has two options, either to present himself to a police station in Nkandla or in Johannesburg. We have our reporter, Linda Mnisi, who is in Nkandla, following that story for us. Linda, as we touch base with you now, what are the developments on the ground? What you are seeing now on the screen are visuals coming to you from Nkandla. Earlier on, our reporter, Linda Mnisi, who we'll be speaking to in just a moment, was talking to some of the individuals that are forming part of the supportive team for the former president on the reasons why they believe that the Constitutional Court ruling was indeed unfair, and they're showing their full support for the former president. A large number of them have gathered outside his home in Nkandla. Linda, as we touch base with you once again, if you could update us on exactly what has transpired and what is going on now.
Okay, Tammy, so as you can see, the live visuals coming out of just at the gate of the former president, Jacob Zuma's home. Those are some of the ANC members from the eThekwini region who have arrived addressing the crowds. Earlier on, what we saw were religious leaders who started by opening up, of course, giving out a couple of, remarks before this crowd that's gathered here. But it is also quite important to note, Tammy, that the political people or the ANC members are standing apart from where the Amabuto, are standing. What we saw just after we saw the Amabuto arriving outside the former president's home, what they were able to do, which is what the ANC members couldn't do, was enter the premises of the former president, Jacob Zuma. So essentially the messages that are being delivered is, of course, dissatisfaction with what they've seen, and of course disapproving of the Constitutional Court's decision to, of course, imprison the former president to 15 months, as well as perhaps some of the things that were said, really articulating that it was indeed an emotional judgment, but also from some of the religious leaders saying that they had reached a point of no return. This is the point where they have, of course, have reached a point of no return. The Constitutional Court, as well as the Constitutional Court judges, are, of course, part of the problems in this country. But, of course, that at the moment cannot change things, as, of course, the president is set to be starting his jail sentence next week. Of course, this kind of activity outside has no bearing, of course, on that Constitutional Court judgment. The former president has not said anything yet in terms of whether or not he will be going to prison, but of course they continue to arrive to show their support in numbers.
I was wondering, Linda, there are a number of people who've got placards with various messages on them, and there's one that I saw just a moment ago, somebody who's sitting on the floor with a placard that's written, "The NPA must do its job." And if you have an opportunity, to get closer to that particular individual, I'd be quite interested to find out, exactly what job it is that they believe the NPA needs to be doing in this particular regard. So when time allows and you're able to, it would be great to hear the perspective of that particular individual. But what I also saw from the placards, Linda, is somebody holding up one that says Ramaphosa must pay, or Ramaphosa hands off, or Ramaphosa must step down, something around President Cyril Ramaphosa. What is the feeling on the ground and the sentiment? Is there a direct connection that the supporters of former President Jacob Zuma are making with Cyril Ramaphosa in this particular instance, and in this case of the looming imprisonment of former President Jacob Zuma?
Well, Tammy, at the moment, the resounding message here and the question is, when's Uzuma? As you're hearing right now, the ANC members are, of course, singing, including members of SASCO. I'm joined now by one of the SASCO members. Temba, thank you so much for your time. I'm seeing here behind you a placard written "Ramaphosa must fall." How does he feature into what has happened at the Constitutional Court?
First of all, let me correct this. We are not SASCO, we are SANCO Youth Congress, KZN. I wouldn't comment much, but the only thing that I know is that we do not feel comfortable about this whole thing, about this whole saga of taking President Zuma to jail, because we know there are rumors, but we know because Baba have been poisoned before. They will actually kill him.
Is that what you believe? Is that what you're suspecting right now?
I'm not suspecting Ramaphosa, but I suspect those who have tried to poison before.
Who are those?
I'm not at liberty to say it's only suspicions, but I know for sure that some of the people out there they are rushing to see Zuma in jail because they know that they will end up saying no, it's COVID, whereas it's not. They want to poison him. That's that.
Are you saying there are people out there that are out to kill the former president now?
There are people who have conspired. We, in fact, but we cannot just say who are those people. Baba have been poisoned before. Everybody knows that he has been poisoned before, and we do not feel comfortable for him to be taken to jail.
Is there evidence pointing to that direction?
Even before when he was poisoned, there was no evidence, but he was poisoned at the end of the day.
I want us to talk about, of course, the regulations in the country. It seems you've also chosen to defy the lockdown level 4 regulations. From what I'm seeing here, some of the members not wearing masks, most in fact not social distancing.
I will not talk on behalf of other people, but I'm wearing a mask and I'm keeping a distance, as you can see. It's 1.5 meters. So we are observing lockdown regulations. But at the same time, we do understand that we are here to support Jacob Zuma because we feel for him. We feel what the pain that he's feeling. Even if Jacob Zuma says no, we mustn't protect him, we will continue to protect him. He has been in the struggle for quite a long time, and he also played a pivotal role in making sure that our country has got a good constitution. That constitution needs also to come back and protect him for whatever that he has fought for. President Zuma is one of those people who delivered us to the democracy that we are enjoying today. We wouldn't like seeing him going back to jail. We want the state to protect Jacob Zuma like any other person. Jacob Zuma says a very simple thing. Says, no, I will come and give evidence to the state capture. But the only thing that I wouldn't be able to do is to come and present myself to a person whom I know very well that I have a previous relationship with, and that might also interfere with everything that I'm going to say in the state capture. I don't understand why didn't the state capture inquiry allow him a space to do so, because questions are questions. Even if the chairperson wanted to ask questions, he could have written them down. Anyone could have taken the chair and asked Zuma those questions.
But it is also noted in that very same judgment that he had legal options at the moment. While he was uncomfortable with the decision by the Deputy Chief Justice not to recuse himself, there was a legal option for him that he could take, but he chose not to.
His legal team advised, in fact, tried to negotiate with the state capture inquiry itself, but they did not listen. It couldn't be that the very same person whom Zuma was complaining about is the very same person who judged on the matter. It could have been someone else to say, no, come and check, and check whether or not there was a need.
So you believe he was ill-advised by his legal team?
I wouldn't say he was ill-advised. The person who was wrong in this whole thing, whom I will blame, it wasn't. I can't complain to you. You are the one who's going to give a verdict of whether or not I'm correct or not.
Talk to us about what's going to happen now. I see. Looks like you're dispersing. What's going to happen now?
For now, we'll keep our distance. But as leaders, various leaders are here. Leaders of the ANC, leaders of Amabuto. Traditional leaders. Abafundisi, a lot of Abahlali. There are a lot of leaders here. We'll gather, obviously, and try to find, we'll share our minds, then we'll find out what's the next move to make. But I could not just tell now.
All right. Thank you so much for your time. That's one of the members of SANCO, as he has, of course, alluded. But as it stands, it seems they, of course, have really thought about what they want to do here, what their message is, as of course they've gathered here. At the moment it's unclear what is going to happen, or if the former president will of course come to address them. Yesterday we had an opportunity to speak to Jacob Zuma, who indicated to us that the former president is not here at his home, and he will be coming back attending to some issues, saying that he's currently getting legal advice, but couldn't disclose because journalists were probing Tammy as to where he could be at the moment. There was speculation that he could have been in Durban, but Edward saying, well, at the moment, all he can say is that the former president is in South Africa. But of course, from what we're hearing right now, it seems he may arrive. It's quite unclear at the moment. He may arrive. It's unclear at the moment. We'll just wait for official confirmation if the former president will, of course, arrive at his Nkandla home. Tammy?
And coming up, Linda, from that conversation that you've just had, emerging fears from some of his supporters of a possible poisoning of the former president, as we heard there, should he go to prison. He said that he heard that from certain quarters, although he didn't quite disclose exactly who, when, and how.